What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you saw my last video, you were probably wondering why didn't he paint the rear differential cover? Well, I'm sure you guys have probably all figured it out by now. Yes, I am going to be replacing this differential cover with a BandM differential cover. And at the same time, I'm also going to show you how to change the differential fluid on the rear differential. So as you can see, I've left it unpainted. I've been driving probably about a month or so with the OR15 and it seems like it's holding on pretty well. I haven't seen any chips or anything flaking, so pretty satisfied with the product. You can definitely see that that centerpiece right there needs to go. So I'm gonna go head over to my job at Nissan and definitely take advantage of their lifts on my day off. So I'm gonna bring you guys along for the ride. Well, it's a good thing I beat the rain. Holy moly. It's nasty out there all of a sudden. That's Kansas weather for you guys. Truck is looking clean in the shop. I don't know why, I've said it before, I will say it again. It just looks good in a shop. Just looks good. The lighting and everything, I just gotta take a moment real quick. Just take a look at it. All right, time to lift the truck and let's see what we got to work with. Grab the tools and let's get at it. All right, here is the differential cover. So the first thing, what we're gonna have to do is actually remove all of these bolts because there is no drain bolt for the differential cover, so we can't just drain it first. We're gonna have to loosen probably the bottom bolts first just to get majority of that fluid out, and then once we get majority of that fluid that comes running out, then we'll start loosening all the way around and then remove the whole cover off. So let's go ahead and start that process now. Okay, so here is the new part. I've yet to open it. I can't wait to take a look and see what this is. This is from BandM, part number 71502, the rear differential cover. Hopefully I ordered the right part because I know there's different differential covers for the same year, make, and model for my truck. Fingers crossed on that. You'll need 3 quarts of 75/90 differential fluid. I think it calls for 2.75 quarts. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. First thing is we have directions, and then you have your hardware. It's always nice when they have stickers to slap on your toolbox. And then of course the part itself. Let's take a little look here and see the beauty. Oh my God, you guys. Look at that. Look at that. Now the finish is actually not like a gloss black, it's more of like a graphite looking type of finish. I actually thought it was gonna be like more of a gloss, but I mean, this is gorgeous, I'm not complaining. I love this. It comes with the fill and the drain plugs, and then of course all the necessary hardware to bolt this bad boy up to your truck. I can't wait to install this, and then let's go ahead and go over back to the truck and start draining the fluid. Get yourself a oil drain pan of some sort. We're going to slowly start removing these bolts. These are 13mm bolts, so just get yourself a 13mm socket and 3/8 ratchet, and then go loosen these bolts. I'm gonna go ahead and start with these 3 bottom bolts first, so that I can try to drain some of this differential fluid out, and then I'll work my way around it. Here we go! Here we go! Gotta get a pry bar, get started. Oh, there we go. Oh, she's coming out now. Man, you see, I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but the fluid on this it's dark. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is pretty dark. I mean, I haven't changed it since I've owned the truck, and I've got it, I think, around 70,000 miles or so, and it has 190,000. So, long overdue, I know. Yeah. much needed. You might want to remove this upper hose up top, before you remove all the bolts. That should be the last bolt. This should just slip out. I probably should have swung that bracket out of the way, but it is what it is. So this bracket I'm gonna have to take off completely. There's a bolt right here I'm gonna have to remove. I probably should have removed that first. I wasn't really thinking. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this bracket, because I don't think we're gonna need that one for the other cover. I think I'll have its own supplied brackets or something, I'm not so sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. So the next step, what we're gonna do is get yourself a scraping tool. I like to use Super Scraper, and then what we're gonna do is go ahead and scrape off all of the old gasket material that was left over, and make sure this has a clean mating surface, so that when we put the other part on, it will be nice, good, and hopefully no leaks. So the next step, what we're gonna do is install these load bolts. What we're gonna do is just hand tighten them and thread them on until they basically bottom out. So just like so. Next step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply a bead of silicone. I'm just using some gray liquid gasket. What I'm gonna do is apply a bead and then kind of go under here, under the bolt, and then go straight and then under, and then you'll see what I mean. tend to go a little heavy on this stuff. I really don't mean to, but I think if I were to cut it at a smaller diameter, I think it would have been just fine. This is probably a slight too big, but I think it'll be fine. You just don't want to go too much of this gasket, because if you do, then some of the gasket can actually get inside and then potentially flake off and then cause some problems. So I think this is fine, but in the future, it's always smart to go a little bit less than probably what you're expecting. With the hardware, you have these Allen bolts, quite a few of these Allen bolts, more than 10, but we only need 10 of these, and we're gonna grab 10 of these washers as well. Every single one of these Allen bolts is gonna have a washer on it, and we're gonna go ahead and slap the cover on with the RTV that we put earlier and torque down all of these bolts. So now we'll be torquing this to 15 foot-pounds in a crisscross pattern. So probably what I'll do is I'll start from the top and then bottom, and then work my way from side to side until I hit every single one. So let's get at it. Everything's torqued to 15 foot-pounds. On to the next one. The next thing we gotta do is torque these load bolts. This is probably gonna be the most tedious process out of the whole thing, because if you over tighten these load bolts, you can have premature failure on the bearings, and that's not what we wanna do. So what we're gonna do is hand tighten them until they barely touch or they're barely snug. So hand tighten them until they barely basically making contact to behind the bearing, just like that. Okay. So then now we're going to torque these to 5 foot-pounds. And that should be an equivalent to hand tight is 5 foot-pounds. Like I said, we do not want to over torque these. So 5 foot-pounds, and that's it. Next, what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of RTV on the load bolts, and then we'll put the jam nut on top of this, and then we'll go ahead and tighten that jam nut to 5 foot-pounds as well. So what we're gonna do is just grab a little bit of RTV. Next, we'll torque this to 5 foot-pounds. Just be careful, you don't want to do that. This should be equivalent to hand tight, and you don't want to over tighten these, because then you can cause premature failure to the bearings. All right, so the next step is going to be installing this magnetic drain plug. And it's pretty simple. I mean, obviously you're just gonna hand tighten it and not go too crazy on it. There's no really specific torque spec for it. You just kind of snug tight it, I guess you can say. But it's pretty cool. It has a magnet on it, so that if for whatever reason there is going to be any debris, such as anything metal, of course, more than likely it'll stick to here and then prevent it from actually damaging anything inside. So that's something that I didn't have on my other differential, probably because it never had a drain plug. So that's always a nice bonus. Okay, so the final step is going to be to actually add fluid in the fill hole up here. That's why this is still exposed. Going to go ahead and fill it to the point where it actually starts to seep or leak a little bit, and then that's when we know proper fill level on this vehicle. And then we'll go ahead and tighten down the fill plug and then torque down that fill plug. Some things to note if you were to do this, the brackets that hold the brake line and the brake cables and miscellaneous other stuff up here, those brackets that actually bolt to the OEM cover, you won't really be able to reuse. I'm sure you could probably do some cutting or retrofitting of some sort, but since these bolts are recessed into the differential cover, you can't just bolt it onto here, because then that bolt won't be able to actually torque down this cover. So you'd have to do some creative thinking if you're wanting some brackets of some sort. All right, you guys, it's been about an hour. Time to fill this bad boy up with some 75-90 fluid. These AC Delco differential fluid actually came with this cap, so we're gonna go ahead and cut this cap off. It should be a big enough diameter to squirt this lubricant in the hole.
Oh, giggity 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 goo!
Stings the nostrils.
Oh, there she goes. See, when you start to see it seeping like this, that's when you know you're at the proper fill level. So now the only thing left we gotta do is install the fill bolt, and that's it. So that's gonna be it for today, everyone. I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. If you do, please consider liking and subscribing. And as always, I will see you all in the next episode. Adios. I think it's finally time.